In the heart of downtown Detroit, where the sleek glass facades of luxury car dealerships gleamed under the relentless Michigan sun, a man shuffled through the automatic doors of elite Mercedes Motors. His clothes were threadbare, a faded army jacket patched with duct tape, jeans worn thin at the knees, and boots that had seen more miles than most vehicles on the lot. His beard was unkempt, his eyes shadowed by a life of hardships, but there was a quiet determination in his step that no one noticed at first. The sales floor buzzed with polished professionals in crisp suits, chatting with affluent clients about horsepower and leather interiors. When the ragged man approached the front desk and cleared his throat, the room fell into a momentary hush before erupting in muffled snickers. "I'd like to buy 5 Mercedes trucks," he said, his voice steady but rough, like gravel under tires. The receptionist blinked, then burst into laughter, assuming it was some elaborate prank. Little did they know, that dismissal would become the biggest mistake of their lives. The man's name was Elias Hawthorne, though no one bothered to ask. At 62, he looked every bit the drifter society had labeled him. Born in a small Rust Belt town outside Flint, Elias had enlisted in the Army straight out of high school, dreaming of serving his country and building a better life. Vietnam had shattered those dreams. 2 tours left him with shrapnel scars, a purple heart, and nightmares that never faded. Back home, he married his high school sweetheart, Sarah, and they scraped by on factory jobs until the auto plants closed one by one. Sarah's cancer came swift and merciless, draining their savings and leaving Elias alone in a world that moved on without him. He sold their home to pay the bills, wandering from shelter to shelter, picking up odd jobs as a mechanic. But beneath the rags lay a spark of ingenuity. In quiet moments, tinkering in junkyards, Elias had invented a simple device, a fuel-efficient engine adapter that could revolutionize heavy-duty trucks. He'd patented it years ago, but no one took the homeless inventor seriously. Until one day, a venture capitalist stumbled upon his prototype in a scrapyard demo. Overnight, Elias's invention sold for millions. He could have bought mansions, yachts, the works. Instead, he chose to live as he always had, simply, humbly, saving every penny for something greater. At the dealership, the laughter spread like wildfire. Sales manager Victor Lang, a sharp-dressed man in his 40s with a perpetual smirk, sauntered over. 5 trucks, huh? You mean the G-Class SUVs or the actual semis? Buddy, this ain't a soup kitchen. Why don't you head down the street to the bus stop? The other salespeople chuckled, one snapping a quick photo on his phone for the office group chat. Elias stood there, unflinching, his calloused hands clutching a worn leather wallet. The Sprinter vans, he clarified calmly. The cargo models. I'll pay cash. More laughter echoed, drawing curious glances from customers. Victor waved him off. Sure, and I'll throw in a yacht. Security, escort this gentleman out. As 2 guards approached, Elias's eyes met Victor's with a piercing gaze. You'll regret this, he said softly, not in threat, but in quiet certainty. The doors slid shut behind him, and the dealership returned to its rhythm, dismissing the encounter as just another crazy story for happy hour. But fate has a way of circling back, especially in a city built on reinvention like Detroit. That evening, as Victor locked up, his phone buzzed with a news alert. A massive flood had ravaged the Gulf Coast, hurricanes barreling through Louisiana and Mississippi, leaving thousands homeless, roads impassable, and supply lines severed. Emergency responders pleaded for vehicles to deliver aid, food, water, medical supplies. Victor shrugged it off, climbing into his own Mercedes sedan. Meanwhile, Elias trudged to a nearby motel, where he'd stashed his belongings. In his room, surrounded by blueprints and faded photos of Sarah, he made a call to his lawyer. The patent sale had netted him over $50 million, invested wisely into a foundation he'd quietly established in Sarah's name. The Sarah Hawthorne Relief Fund aimed to help disaster victims, veterans, and the forgotten, people like him. But to make a real impact, he needed vehicles. 5 Mercedes Sprinter vans, to be exact, customized for off-road hauls. The next morning, Elias walked into a rival dealership across town, Prestige Auto Group, a smaller outfit run by Maria Gonzalez, a no-nonsense Latina entrepreneur who'd bootstrapped her way from a mechanic's garage. When Elias entered, looking just as ragged, Maria didn't laugh. She saw the weariness in his eyes, the same she'd seen in her immigrant father's after long factory shifts. How can I help you, sir? She asked genuinely. Elias repeated his request. 5 Sprinter vans, paid in full. Maria raised an eyebrow but listened. No judgment, just questions about specs and delivery. When he wired the payment, over $500,000, she didn't bat an eye. What's the rush? She inquired as they signed the papers. Elias hesitated, then shared his story. The war, Sarah, the invention, the foundation. These trucks aren't for me, he explained. They're heading south. To help folks who've lost everything. Maria's eyes welled up. Her own family had fled floods in Mexico years ago. Let me donate the customizations, racks, tires, the works, she offered. Elias nodded gratefully, and in that moment, a partnership was born. Word spread fast in Detroit's tight-knit auto community. By afternoon, Victor at Elite Mercedes caught wind of the massive sale at Prestige. His smirk faded as he scrolled through social media posts. Photos of Elias, still in his rags, standing beside the gleaming vans loaded with supplies. A local news crew had picked up the story. Rags to riches, inventor using his fortune for good. Victor's phone rang off the hook. Reporters, customers, even his boss demanding explanations. We laughed him out the door, Victor muttered, replaying the scene. But the real twist came when Elias's foundation announced a press conference. Victor attended, lurking in the back, his suit feeling tighter than ever. At the podium, Elias looked the same, ragged, unassuming, but his words carried the weight of a lifetime. I came to your city not as a beggar, but as a buyer with a purpose, he began, addressing the crowd. Yesterday, at Elite Mercedes, they saw my clothes and laughed. Today, these 5 trucks from Prestige will save lives. He paused, his voice cracking. But this isn't about revenge. It's about seeing the humanity in each other. Sarah taught me that kindness isn't a weakness, it's the strongest force we have. The audience murmured, moved. Then came the unexpected turn. Elias revealed he'd bought 10 more vans from other dealers, but he wanted Elite to join. Redeem your mistake, he said directly to Victor, who stood frozen. Donate vehicles, supplies, whatever you can. Not for me, for them. The room held its breath. Victor's mind raced. He'd built his career on closing deals, not opening hearts. Flashbacks hit him. His own father's layoff from GM, the family's struggle, how he'd vowed never to be weak again. But watching Elias, a man who'd lost everything yet gave more, cracked something inside. In a profound realization, Victor stepped forward. We were wrong, he admitted, voice trembling. Elite Mercedes will match your 5 vans, with drivers and fuel for the trip south. Cheers erupted. It was the emotional climax, not just